What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be attempting to do the suture practice. This was one of the items from the BATTLBOX. Pretty interesting stuff. I've never done this before. I just grabbed this card here that shows 3 basic different ways you can suture someone up. This is obviously individual, stitches, all right, which is a good idea. This is something that I would normally do. Without reading this card or getting this item, not really thinking about it, I would probably stitch someone up like that, where it's just a continuous stitch. So basically it's tied on one end, and then you're looping around and around and around. I think that's the fastest way to stitch something up, but obviously you don't have much strength. If any of these individual stitches gets cut or broken, the whole thing gets loose and opens up. All right, so that I think is much more effective and definitely worth learning. And then there's a different one that's a little bit, harder to get out. But if it's in an area like maybe like on the elbow or something, all right, where there's a lot of stress and a lot of movement all the time, you do need, a little bit of a stronger stitch to make sure that's going to stay in there. So anyway, I went to, on the bottom, there's a link here which gives you a couple basic videos. I watched a video, and I'm going to go by memory. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at this toolkit again. Makes a little more sense after watching the video. This is the handle for the scalpel blades, which we're not going to use. This has a curved tip. These are locking pliers, I guess. I don't know, forceps. I don't know the technical terms for these. This is some tweezers, but these are pretty interesting. Let me zoom in on these. Pointy end on one side, all right, and a spot on the other side where it goes in. This is how you grab the skin, all right? So these look to be much more effective than just standard tweezers. What these are going to do is help grab the skin itself and have a really good grip, all right, so we can get our needle through there. Now we also have these. This has a straight tip. We're going to be using these as well. This also has a locking, all right, portion here, so as you squeeze together, it does lock that in, so we can use that to hold our actual needle. So put those off to the side, and then we have a simple pair of scissors, okay, they come to a nice point. So for this demo, I'm going to be using those 3 tools. I'm going to put the tool kit away for now. All right, I'm going to grab just one of these sutures. Again, big difference here is the blue ones are silk braided, the bottom one is nylon monofilament. So let's try the blue one, let's try the bigger one. All right, so put that off to the side, and here we go. First thing we're going to do is open up our suture. All right, so there's a plastic piece in the front, which is housing a whole separate thing here. It's nice, keep everything sterile. Alright, so in here, you can see there's our hooked needle, okay, with the thread. So in this case, I'm not going to be worried too much about being sterile. I'm just doing the initial practice, you know what I mean? So like touching this to try to maneuver around, it's not a big deal because it's the first time actually doing this. Now, if you're doing this on a person, you want to be mindful not to take your dirty hand. Obviously, you're going to wash your hands, maybe use gloves. Gloves are probably a very good idea, but just as a quick note, not worried about being extra hygienic or sanitary. I'm just kind of getting the feel for how this stuff works. So we have a hooked needle that has the thread already attached to it, and so it's a run of probably, I mean, I'm sure it says on the package, but I don't know, a little over 2 feet or something. All right, so I got a close-up shot here. I'm going to be working on this spot right here, assuming that's the wounds. So here is our needle. First thing we do is put this on the back end and lock it in. Okay, so it's stable. I'm going to grab this tool here. We're going to grab the skin on one side, and I'm going to be looking down here. Hopefully this is going to be on camera. It's a little bit hard to do this. All right, I'm going to be pushing through. All right, grab the other side and hooking that through. Okay, gonna unlock this, grab the other end. All right, so we're in both sides here. Now I went down through the fat layer. There's quite a bit of fat, all right, as we talked about in the other video. When I opened it, it shows where the muscle is. So you just don't want to go down into the muscle. All right, but we're going to pull this all the way through until we have a little bit of a tag on one end. All right, just like that. Now again, I'm going by memory on a video. So we'll see. It was doing a surgeon's knot, basically. All right, so let's see if I can get this right. What I want to do is rest this tool against the wounds. Okay, I'm going to grab the long ends, wrap around the tip twice, and then grab the tag end here. I'm losing all depth perception. I want to get the in between and grab. Okay, so I grab that, I'm locking it down, pulling it through. All right, the opposite way. So that closes it up. I'm going to let go. I'm going to do that again, but just with one loop. All right, so it's looped around once. Open up, grab the tag end, and pull the opposite direction. All right, so I'm pulling it through in the opposite direction. That's looking okay. All right, so now I'm supposed to do it one more time. I believe the opposite way. So looped around once. Grab this tag end here. Pull through. Whoops, there we go. And pull it kind of snug. So we have the first stitch. Let's see, first time doing this. So again, give me a break if you know what you're doing and you're watching and kind of shaking your head a little bit. All right, so then we're gonna hold both those together and get our scissors and cut it. All right, so there's the first stitch. If I kind of tug on it, you can see it is connected. It's not supposed to be like super tight locked down, but you obviously want to have it so that both ends are touching each other, okay? So kind of a gentle connection between the skin. It looks okay. I don't know if I went the right directions and looping and pulling and all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna keep going with this, working my way down, and we'll take a look at it as I progress. All right, so here's the progress so far. I have 5 stitches, all right? I think what's really important when doing this is to make sure that you have symmetry. You want to make sure the gaps that are in between each stitch is the same. There's even on the card here, it shows you that you can do, whoops, where is it here? For as far as spacing, you can do one in the middle, then do the middle of the middles and so forth to make sure that they are evenly spaced. All right, something I didn't consider much. So it's a little sloppy, but it is, keeping the wound shut. What I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna stop here. Instead of doing the entire length of this, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put stitches in between the ones that I have right now, okay, to further tighten them up a little bit, okay, because as you can see, they're still a little bit open. Had this been a real wound, it would probably still be bleeding and so forth. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back and just go in between these to tighten it up a little bit, see what that looks like. Since I have the camera on, we're gonna do another one here on camera so you can see. So I'm using the single prong on the bottom part to grab the skin. So go inside the wound a little bit. All right. Now also, I think it's important that you have the right depth so it doesn't rip out. All right, just like that. So you can see it's not super close to the wound, okay? I mean, again, doing this professionally, which I'm certainly not, just practicing, it has to be the right depth down, it has to be the right distance away from the actual wound. So again, it's not right on the edge, but you don't want it like super deep. So obviously lots of practice would get you where you need to be with that. I'm going to push this through using the tool so I can grab the other end. I'm also trying to be mindful that this is human flesh, or at least I'm assuming that it's human flesh, all right? So they're not just tugging on things. Like even when I'm grabbing the skin there, without some kind of numbing agent, obviously that's gonna hurt. So if someone's sitting there crying and in pain and you're doing this, you don't wanna just be poking and prodding. You wanna try to get it done, pretty swiftly and as with little pain as possible. All right, so again, looping around twice around the tool, grabbing the tag end, and pulling it. That's the other problem I came into before, is the stitching or the actual thread getting stuck in the tool, you know, where the joint is. So just kind of gently pushing that off the tool now. And pulling this way. Okay, whoops, sorry, that was a little off camera. Go ahead and wrap this around once. Grab the tag end, lock it, and pull the other direction. Just snug it up. And then do that one more time in the other direction here. Again, a little bit hard to be doing this and filming it as well. But pulling that through, nice and tight. Alright, and grabbing our scissors. And grabbing both sides there and trimming. Alright, so another stitch. Now you can see on the ends how it's not spreading as much. So I'm going to put another stitch right here in between this. Basically, when I open this up, these 3 circles here, I want to put stitches over the middle of each one of those to just tighten everything up. Alright, so we're done for now with that. Much tighter. I mean, might not be perfect, but if we zoom in here, let's take a closer look at this. So it's a total of 10 stitches, which by the way was just enough length on the thread that was attached to the suture. Alright, so I figure each pack can get about 10 stitches in. But yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, it's not perfect, but as I tug on this, it's relatively close. I think that would do the job, although it might be sloppy compared to professional. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I think some of the mistakes I made is not actually doing the knots properly. Alright, so basically not keeping the tension down. So when I went back and locked in the knot, it was a little looser than when I started. You know what I mean? That's why some of these areas might be gapping a little bit more than others, like this stitch right here. All right, might not be as tight as it could be. I was trying not to over tighten things, but obviously you want it to be snug. So yeah, I think for the rest of this particular slash wound or gash or whatever, I'm going to try that continuous loop just to compare the two, because that's what I would have normally done. Like I said, without this whole kit, I wouldn't even know to do individual stitching. All right, guys, so I ended up finishing this wounds with the different thread. This is the monofilament, okay, which essentially is fishing line as most people know it. All right, so it's plasticky, it has a little bit of give to it. In this case, not only did I use the different material, but I also did that continuous stitch. So I did one loop and then put it through itself so that you'd have like kind of a half knot. All right, and then I just continued that. It's a little bit sloppy, but you can see it's tight, except for the very end. I should have went a little further. But I mean, it's super tight in comparison to this. Doing this style might, I don't know, create more of a scar. Who knows? It's a really interesting thing though. I love this. I'm gonna have Christina try this as well, so that we're both better at doing sutures. So, you know, God forbid, if we ever need to in the future, we can certainly, you know, do it more efficiently than I would have before. So yeah, very, very cool. Big 2 thumbs up on this. Again, you know, anything medical related can be very, very useful. You never know where you're going to be. Obviously, you need to have the supplies. I'm probably going to, even though there's a bunch left in this package, I might buy some more of these sutures and put them other places, as well as get another set of the tools. All right, so yeah, it's just it's really fascinating. It was fun practicing. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.